Why do some people succeed again and again while others keep struggling? Because successful people don't work harder, they work smarter. They follow just 7 habits that change everything. Want to know what they are? Let's begin.
Chapter 1. Inside Out. Stephen R. Covey begins the book by introducing the foundational idea of inside-out change. He argues that if you want to create real, lasting improvements in your life, whether in relationships, work, or personal growth, you must first work on your character, not just your behavior. Change must start from within. Covey contrasts this with the outside-in approach, which focuses on changing external situations, other people, systems, or circumstances, without looking inward. He suggests that many people try to change their results without changing their core attitudes, beliefs, or values. But without aligning with deep principles, any progress remains temporary or superficial. He introduces 2 core ethical systems that have influenced personal success teachings over the years. 1. The personality ethic focuses on quick fixes, public image, charm, and techniques like positive thinking or body language. These are often surface-level tools used to manipulate impressions. And the character ethic focuses on deep foundational values such as integrity, humility, courage, patience, and fairness. Covey stresses that many people in modern society chase shortcuts, trying to appear successful rather than actually being trustworthy or capable. But these shortcuts ultimately fail because they are not built on principles. Just like you can't build a stable house on a shaky foundation, you can't build lasting relationships, trust, or personal peace without character. He introduces the concept of paradigms, the mental maps we use to interpret the world. These paradigms shape how we see people, events, and problems. Sometimes our paradigms are deeply flawed, and we don't even realize it until something shifts our perspective, a paradigm shift. For example, Covey tells a story of being annoyed by a father whose children were misbehaving on a train, only to learn that the children had just lost their mother. In that moment, Covey's view of the man changed completely, though the situation itself hadn't. The chapter emphasizes the importance of self-awareness. Unlike animals, humans can pause, reflect, and choose how to respond. This ability gives us power to break away from old habits and reactive patterns. In closing, Covey explains that principles like honesty, responsibility, and fairness are natural laws. They exist whether or not we acknowledge them. You cannot violate these principles without eventually facing the consequences. If you live according to them, life tends to align more positively. If you try to manipulate or skip them, you may succeed in the short term but fail in the long term. The first step to effectiveness, therefore, is choosing to live from the inside out, beginning with self-examination, aligning with timeless principles, and taking full responsibility for your life.
Chapter 2. The 7 Habits, an Overview. Stephen Covey begins this chapter by laying the foundation for the rest of the book. He introduces the concept of a habit and defines it clearly. Habit equals knowledge plus skill plus desire. Knowledge tells us what to do and why. Skill shows us how to do it. Desire is the motivation or want to do it. For a behavior to become a true habit, all 3 components must be present. If any one is missing, lasting change won't happen. The maturity continuum. Covey introduces a powerful framework called the maturity continuum which maps personal growth across 3 levels. 1. Dependence. You rely on others to take care of you or make things happen. You take care of me. 2. Independence. You take responsibility for your own life. I can do it. 3. Interdependence. You cooperate with others to achieve more together. We can do it. Most self-help books stop at independence, but Covey argues that true effectiveness lies in interdependence, working with others while remaining strong individually. This is where relationships, teams, families, and organizations thrive. The 7 habits. Covey then introduces all 7 habits, grouped according to the maturity levels. Private victory, from dependence to independence. These are the foundational habits that build personal strength. 1. Habit 1. Be proactive. Take responsibility for your life. Don't blame others or circumstances. 2. Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. Define clear values and personal goals. Live with purpose. 3. Habit 3. Put first things first. Focus on long-term over short-term. Public victory, from independence to interdependence. These habits help build effective, trusting relationships. 4. Habit 4. Think win-win. Seek mutually beneficial solutions. Avoid competition and manipulation. 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Practice empathic listening. Understand others before expressing yourself. 6. Synergize. Value differences. Combine strengths to create something better together. Renewal. Continuous growth and balance. 7. Habit 7. Sharpen the saw. Regularly renew yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Covey emphasizes that these habits are sequential and interconnected. You can't skip ahead or cherry-pick. You must first achieve private victory before achieving public victory, and continuously renew yourself to maintain balance. He also explains that these habits are based on timeless principles, not trends. They're not quick fixes, but deeply rooted practices that, if lived consistently, transform your character and effectiveness. This chapter sets the stage for deep, practical application of each habit in the following chapters, with Habit 1 being the starting point of all personal change.
Chapter 3. Habit 1. Be proactive. Stephen Covey begins this chapter by making a powerful statement. Being proactive is more than taking initiative. It means taking responsibility for our own lives. The human freedom. Covey explains that between stimulus and response, humans have the power to choose. Unlike animals, we don't have to react automatically. We can pause, reflect, and choose our response. He calls this the greatest human endowment. Self-awareness, imagination, conscience, independent will. These give us the power to break harmful habits, write new scripts, and act according to our values rather than moods or circumstances. Reactive people versus proactive people. Covey makes a sharp contrast. Reactive people blame others, the weather, or external events. Their mood depends on surroundings. They use language like, "I can't," "I have to," "that's just how I am." Proactive people focus on what they can control. They take initiative. They choose their response based on values, not feelings. They use language like, I will, I prefer, let's figure this out. Covey says, it's not what happens to us, but our response to what happens that hurts us. The circle of concern and circle of influence. He introduces a life-changing concept. Circle of concern. Things we worry about but can't control. Politics, weather, economy, others' opinions. Circle of influence. Things we can control. Our attitude, actions, behavior. Proactive people focus on their circle of influence, which slowly expands over time. Reactive people focus on their circle of concern, which shrinks their influence and power. That's just the way I am, a self-made prison. Covey shares real-life examples where people felt stuck in patterns or bad marriages. But he reminds us our behavior is a function of our decisions, not our conditions. You're not your past, you're your decisions. He talks about Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor who chose dignity, forgiveness, and purpose even inside a concentration camp, proving that freedom to choose remains even in the worst conditions. Carrying your own weather. Proactive people carry their own weather. Whether it rains or shines outside, they decide how they'll feel inside. They take charge of their moods, their words, their time, their energy. The power of proactive language. Covey stresses using language that reflects responsibility. Let me find an alternative. I choose to. I can decide. Rather than, I have to. He made me angry. I can't. Commitments and integrity. Proactive people keep their commitments to themselves and others. Even small promises matter. They build self-trust and integrity. The commitments we make to ourselves and our integrity to those commitments is the essence of proactive growth. In conclusion, habit 1 is the foundation of all others. Until you realize you are the creator of your life, no true change can begin. You must stop blaming and start owning, because proactive people are the author of their future.
Chapter 4. Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. Stephen Covey opens this chapter with a bold truth. All things are created twice, first in the mind, then in reality. He explains that before anything is built physically, a house, a goal, a life, it must first be clearly designed mentally. Just like architects create blueprints, we must consciously design our life based on principles and long-term vision. Mental creation before physical creation. Covey gives the example of constructing a home. No one pours concrete or sets bricks without a detailed plan. Yet in life, people often react, drift, or follow others' paths without a clear personal vision. That leads to success without fulfillment, climbing the ladder only to find it's leaning against the wrong wall. So he asked, "Do you know where you're going? What does success mean to you personally?" Personal leadership versus management. Management is doing things right, efficiency. Leadership
is doing the right things, vision, purpose. Covey warns that efficiently climbing the wrong mountain is still failure. Habit 2 is about personal leadership, setting the correct direction aligned with your deepest values. Visualization exercise, your own funeral. Covey introduces a powerful thought experiment. Imagine attending your own funeral. 4 people will speak: a family member, a friend, a work colleague, and someone from your community. Ask yourself, what do you want them to say about you? What kind of spouse, parent, friend, or citizen were you? What impact did you make? This vision forces you to think about what truly matters and whether your daily life reflects those priorities. Principle-centered living. Covey emphasizes the importance of building your life around unchanging principles like honesty, service, contribution, growth, and love, instead of shifting things like money, relationships, status, or pleasure. He compares different centers people build their lives around: spouse-centered, unstable if relationship changes; money-centered, stressful, never enough; work-centered, identity crisis after retirement; friend-centered, emotional roller coaster. Only principle-centered living brings long-term peace, confidence, and direction. The power of a personal mission statement. Just as organizations have mission statements, you need one too. A personal mission statement defines what kind of person you want to be, reflects your deepest values, helps you make daily decisions aligned with your long-term vision, gives clarity even during chaos or pressure. Covey says writing your mission statement is one of the most powerful investments you can make in yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect or permanent. It can evolve, but it gives focus, motivation, and strength. Roles and goals. Covey suggests breaking your mission into roles: spouse, parent, professional, community member, individual, self-care, learning. Then set long-term goals for each role, not just tasks, but who you want to become in each area. Leadership of the self. Covey reminds us, if you don't design your own life plan, you'll fall into someone else's plan, and they may not have much planned for you. Habit 2 is about living deliberately, not by default. In summary, everything is created twice, first in the mind, then in action. Define your personal values, purpose, and long-term vision. Create a personal mission statement. Lead your life in the direction that matters most to you. Quote, "Begin today with the image of the end of your life as your frame of reference." Chapter 5. Habit 3. Put first things first. Stephen Covey starts this chapter with a challenge. Are you managing your time, or are you managing your life? Habit 3 is the practical fulfillment of Habits 1 and 2. Habit 1 is about choice. You are in control. Habit 2 is about vision. Know where you're going. Habit 3 is about execution, acting on your priorities. The main idea: time management versus self-management. Most people try to manage time with to-do lists, calendars, and deadlines, but Covey says this is not enough because it doesn't ensure you're working on the right things. True effectiveness means putting important things first, not just urgent ones. It's about leading yourself first and managing your actions based on values, not pressure. The time management matrix. Covey introduces a 2x2 matrix to classify all tasks: urgent and not urgent, important. Quadrant 1, crises, deadlines. Quadrant 2, planning, prevention, relationships, growth. Not important. Quadrant 3, interruptions, some calls and emails. Quadrant 4, time wasters, distractions, social media. Most people live in Quadrant 1 and 3, always reacting to urgent things. But real success lies in Quadrant 2, planning, preparation, and building meaningful things before they become urgent. Covey says, Quadrant 2 is the heart of effective personal management. Organizing your life around roles and goals. Rather than live by to-do lists, Covey suggests weekly planning around your key roles, example, parent, professional, spouse, self, your long-term goals for each role, weekly scheduling of Quadrant 2 activities, the important, non-urgent things. This ensures your week aligns with your mission statement and values from Habit 2. Delegation, gopher versus stewardship. Covey introduces two styles of delegation: gopher delegation, go for this, go for that, micromanaging; stewardship delegation, trusting others with clear outcomes and accountability. He explains that effective leaders delegate results, not methods, giving people freedom and responsibility. This applies to managing your life, too. You must become the leader of yourself, not just your time. The power of will. Habit 3 is where discipline, integrity, and willpower come into play. It's easy to make plans. It's harder to stick to them. Putting first things first means saying no to distractions, delaying gratification, courageously prioritizing what matters, even when it's uncomfortable. Covey emphasizes that the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. Independent will. Habit 3 requires using your independent will, the ability to act based on values, regardless of moods or outside pressure. You must discipline yourself to do Quadrant 2 work, even when Quadrant 1 things are yelling for attention. A personal example. Covey shares stories of people changing their lives by focusing on the important, like spending real time with family, health, or personal development, even when work was screaming for attention. They didn't manage time better, they lived more deliberately. In summary, Habit 3 is about doing what matters most, not what's most urgent. Focus on Quadrant 2 activities, planning, growth, relationships. Organize your week around roles and values. Use independent will to say no, delegate wisely, and live with integrity. Become the leader of your own life. Put first things first, and everything else falls into place.
Chapter 6. Paradigms of Interdependence. This chapter marks a shift from private victory, habits 1, 2, 3, to public victory, habits 4 through 6. Covey explains that before we can build effective relationships with others, we must first become independent and strong within ourselves, which is what the first 3 habits helped us achieve. Maturity continuum. Covey defines a progression in personal growth. 1. Dependence. You rely on others, childhood mindset. You take care of me. 2. Independence. You take responsibility for yourself. I can do it. 3. Interdependence. You work effectively with others. We can do it together. The first 3 habits move you from dependence to independence. Now, habits 4 through 6 will help you grow from independence to interdependence, the highest level of effectiveness. Interdependence is a choice only independent people can make. Covey emphasizes you can't be successful with other people if you haven't paid the price of success with yourself. Only emotionally strong, value-based individuals can build healthy relationships. Otherwise, relationships become manipulative, defensive, or overly dependent. The emotional bank account. Covey introduces a powerful metaphor. Every relationship has an emotional bank account. Trust builds up like deposits. Betrayals or broken promises act like withdrawals. 6 major deposits into the emotional bank account. 1. Understanding the individual. Learn what matters to them. 2. Attending to little things. Small acts of kindness build trust. 3. Keeping commitments. Do what you say. 4. Clarifying expectations. Avoid misunderstandings by being clear. 5. Showing personal integrity. Be honest and align words with actions. And 6. Apologizing sincerely when you make a withdrawal. Don't justify, take responsibility. Covey says, trust is the highest form of human motivation. If trust is high, communication is easy, smooth, and effective. If trust is low, everything takes longer and costs more, emotionally and practically. The shift to public victory. While the private victory was about self-mastery, the public victory is about effective cooperation. Covey stresses that public victory doesn't mean winning over others, manipulating them, or acting out of selfish interests. Rather, it's about mutual respect, mutual benefit, and shared success, which is where habit 4 begins. Think win-win. From personality to character. Covey critiques the personality ethic, trying to influence people with charm, tricks, or superficial techniques. Instead, real effectiveness comes from the character ethic, deep, genuine traits like honesty, kindness, courage, and respect. Summary. This chapter bridges personal growth to relationship effectiveness. You must master independence before becoming truly interdependent. Relationships are built through trust, like deposits in an emotional bank account. Public victory, habits 4 through 6, is about collaboration, trust, and mutual success. Lasting influence comes from character, not charm. This sets the stage for habit 4, think win-win, which begins the process of building powerful, principle-centered relationships.
Chapter 7. Habit 4. Think win-win. Stephen Covey begins this chapter by introducing Habit 4, which is the first habit of public victory, the habits that govern how we work with others effectively after achieving independence through habits 1 to 3. Win-win is not about being nice, it's about being courageous and considerate at the same time. Win-win is a mindset that seeks mutual benefit in all interactions. It's the belief that there's plenty for everyone. One person's success doesn't mean another must lose. It's not about being nice, it's about being courageous and considerate at the same time. There are 6 paradigms of human interaction. Win-win. We both win. It's cooperative, seeks mutual benefit and respect. Win-lose. If I win, you lose. This is competitive, power-based, and common in hierarchical settings. Lose-win. I lose, you win. A submissive approach. You give in, avoid conflict, or don't stand up for your needs. Lose-lose. If I go down, you go down too, based on revenge or mutual destruction. Win. I don't care if you win or lose, I just want to win. Independent mindset, not interdependent. Win-win or no deal. If we can't both win, we walk away respectfully. Best for long-term relationships, based on high trust. Win-win is powerful. It builds long-term trust, creates solutions everyone supports, fosters collaboration instead of competition, strengthens relationships, helps in families, business, friendships, and communities. You can't fake win-win. It comes from deep within, from character. Covey explains that win-win can't be practiced with techniques alone. It requires deep character strength, built on 3 traits. 1. Integrity, staying true to your values and principles. 2. Maturity, balancing courage, to speak up, and consideration, to respect others. 3. Abundance mentality, the belief that there is enough success, love, recognition, and opportunity for everyone. People with a scarcity mentality think there's only one pie. If someone gets more, you get less. This creates jealousy, comparison, and competition. 5 elements of a win-win agreement. 1. Desired results, what is to be accomplished. 2. Guidelines, the rules, policies, or limits. 3. Resources, tools, help, or support provided. 4. Accountability, standards for performance. 5. Consequences, good or bad outcomes based on performance. You can't talk about win-win if your rewards, structures, and cultures reward win-lose behavior. For example, a company can't say teamwork matters, but only reward individual performance. A family can't say equality matters, but always take one member's side. Covey gives real-world stories from business and personal life where leaders practiced win-win, even when it was hard. He emphasizes that win-win is not always easy, especially in competitive or low-trust environments, but it's worth it.
Chapter 8, Habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Stephen Covey calls Habit 5 the key to effective communication. Most people listen not with the intent to understand, but with the intent to reply. They prepare their response while the other person is still talking. Habit 5 changes that. The core idea: diagnose before you prescribe. Just like a doctor needs to understand your condition before giving you medicine, you need to deeply understand another person before offering advice, judgment, or solution. Covey explains, listening with empathy is the most powerful tool in building trust and meaningful relationships. 2 ways of communication. 1. Autobiographical response, I-centered listening. Most people listen through their own experiences. They respond with, I know exactly how you feel, or let me tell you what I did in a similar situation, or you should just... But this often makes others feel misunderstood or ignored. 2. Empathetic listening, you-centered listening. Truly listen to understand the other person's emotions, thoughts, and point of view. No judging, no interrupting, no advice, just understanding. 5 poor listening styles to avoid. 1. Ignoring, not really listening. 2. Pretending, nodding but not paying attention. 3. Selective listening, only hearing what you want to. 4. Attentive listening, paying attention to words but not feelings. 5. Self-centered listening, using your own experiences to filter their words. Covey says these methods don't lead to trust or connection. What is empathetic listening? It's more than just hearing words. It's listening with your ears, eyes, and heart. You listen for what the person says, what they mean, what they're feeling. This level of listening builds emotional safety. It makes people feel truly seen and heard. How to practice empathetic listening. 1. Reflect content. Repeat back what you heard. Paraphrase. 2. Reflect feeling. Identify and say the emotion behind their words. 3. Avoid advice or judgment until they feel understood. Example. Speaker. I feel like no one values my work. Listener.
Wrong way. You should just talk to your boss. Listener, right way. It sounds like you're feeling unappreciated and frustrated. Once you understand, then you can be understood. Covey emphasizes the second half of Habit 5, be understood. Once you've listened empathetically, people are far more open to hearing your point of view. Now you can share your ideas clearly, explain your reasoning respectfully, communicate without force or defensiveness. This creates mutual respect and a problem-solving environment. Applying this habit in real life. In marriage, stop trying to fix, just listen. With children, hear their world before teaching. In business, understand the customer's real need before selling. With teams, listen to everyone before making decisions. Summary. Habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Empathetic listening builds trust and deepens relationships. Don't give advice or opinions too quickly. Understand others emotionally and logically. Once they feel heard, they're open to hearing your views. Next chapter. Habit 6. Synergize. Creating better solutions through cooperation.
Chapter 9. Habit 6. Synergize. Habit 6, Synergize, is all about creative cooperation. It means valuing differences, building on strengths, and compensating for weaknesses through collaboration. The goal is to produce outcomes greater than the sum of individual parts, a true win-win. What is synergy? The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Covey explains that synergy happens when people work together with respect, trust, and openness, allowing new ideas to emerge that none could have created alone. Synergy isn't just cooperation, it's creative collaboration, where differences are seen as opportunities, not problems. Valuing differences. Instead of tolerating differences, celebrate them. People have unique backgrounds, experiences, and strengths. Covey says synergy requires you to be humble enough to accept you don't know everything, be courageous enough to listen to opposing views, be open-minded enough to learn from others. Barriers to synergy. Synergy fails when people defend their opinions instead of listening. They seek to control or win rather than understand. There's low trust or poor communication. Covey emphasizes synergy grows in an environment of empathy, respect, and trust built from the earlier habits. Synergy in action. Examples: in families, children feel safe to express themselves. Parents collaborate, not dictate. In teams, diverse views lead to breakthrough ideas. In business, cross-functional cooperation creates better solutions. Steps to synergy. 1. Start with the mindset, I don't have all the answers. 2. Practice habit 5, seek first to understand. 3. Look for the third alternative, a better solution that neither person originally had in mind. 4. Value differences instead of trying to eliminate them. 5. Build high-trust relationships. Summary. Synergy is about creative cooperation and valuing differences. When people genuinely listen and work together, they produce far better results. It's not compromise, it's finding better, higher-level solutions. It's essential in families, friendships, teams, and organizations. Next habit, Chapter 10, Habit 7, Sharpen the Saw, all about self-renewal and maintaining personal effectiveness.
Chapter 10, Habit 7, Sharpen the Saw. The seventh and final habit, Sharpen the Saw, is about renewal, regularly investing in yourself to stay effective in the long run. Stephen Covey uses the metaphor of a man sawing a tree with a dull blade. When told to sharpen it, he says, "I don't have time." But sharpening the saw would make the work easier and faster. This habit teaches you must take time to recharge yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. 4 dimensions of renewal: physical, body; exercise, nutrition, rest and stress management; purpose, increases stamina, strength, and health; neglect leads to burnout, illness, and low energy; mental, mind, reading good books, learning new things, writing, problem-solving, planning; purpose keeps your brain sharp and focused. Avoid mental laziness and passive entertainment. Emotional, social, heart, building meaningful relationships, developing empathy, practicing service and kindness. Purpose builds inner security, peace, and connectedness. Covey says you can't be effective with others if you haven't paid the price of internal victory. Spiritual, soul, meditation, prayer, nature walks, reading uplifting literature, clarifying values and purpose. Purpose gives inner strength, guidance, and peace. This is your center. It aligns everything else. Balance is key. You can't just grow in one area and neglect the rest. True effectiveness requires balance among all 4 areas. For example, you may be mentally sharp but physically exhausted, or spiritually calm but emotionally reactive. Sharpening the saw means regular self-care in all areas so you can keep practicing the other 6 habits consistently. Why renewal matters? It prevents burnout, increases long-term effectiveness, helps you stay proactive, focused, and centered, builds your capacity to handle life's demands. It's not selfish, it's essential. Covey says, sharpening the saw is the single most powerful investment we can ever make in life. Investment in ourselves. The upward spiral. Sharpening the saw leads to continuous improvement. Covey calls it the upward spiral. Learn, commit, do, learn more, grow further. You're always becoming better, wiser, stronger, step by step. Living the 7 habits. All 7 habits are interconnected. Be proactive. Begin with the end in mind. Put first things first. Private victory, self-mastery. Think win-win. Seek first to understand, synergize. Public victory, interdependence. Sharpen the saw, renewal, which keeps everything sustainable. Final message. You are the most important project you'll ever work on. Take care of your body, nurture your mind, connect with others, and feed your soul. Sharpen the saw, and you'll stay strong, effective, and fulfilled for life.
Every one of us wants to grow, to succeed, to find balance, and to become a better version of ourselves. Stephen Covey's 7 Habits is not just a book, it's a roadmap to that transformation. These habits don't just change what you do, they change how you think, how you lead, how you connect, and how you live with purpose, clarity, and peace. If you found this audiobook valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments which habit resonated most with your life, and tell us which book you'd like to hear next. See you in the next audiobook. Until then, take care and keep growing, one habit at a time.